Well, it's about time, but I finally have the three most anticipated pressure washers in front of me. We've got the BIGBOI WASHR PRO, we've got the Active 2.3, and we've got the BIGBOI WASHR DUO. And in today's video, I'm gonna be comparing these things side by side so you guys can really get a nice clear vision within one video to which one is the best fit for you. Now we'll be doing a more detailed breakdown of each unit over the next couple of days, but I thought this would be a really good way to introduce this so you guys can see a direct comparison side by side. Now we're gonna go over everything from the design of these units, the accessories that they come with at the price points, so we're gonna talk about the pricing, and then we're also obviously gonna jump into the performance specs of these things right out of the box. Absolutely checking the PSI and the GPM of the stock items that are included here and testing it that way to see exactly which one you want. Now I initially did a launch video with the guys from BigBoI when they released their pre-orders for these things. And yes, guys, these products are made in China. No discrepancy there, they are made in China. The Washer Pro is Italian designed, made in China using a triplex pump, Italian designed. The Washer Duo is German designed using a German designed pump. It's an axial or a wobble plate type of pump. And then the Active is also made in China. I'll show you guys the tag here. And it actually specifically states pump incorporates imported Japanese and Korean components for improved durability. And they are using their proprietary 5-piston pump, which has been incredible, right? It gets a lot of performance out of that little pump. Now, right off the bat, you may be wondering what is the difference between the Washer Pro and the Washer Duo. Again, mostly, a lot of it's gonna come down to that pump design. Again, triplex pump versus a wobble plate. And then also there are some differences in the motor configuration as well, but relatively close in size and all that kind of stuff. Now with the Washer Pro, they do state right on the box, commercial grade. This thing is a powerhouse professional grade unit that is built for commercial use, right? Really getting out there and getting after it. The Active 2.3, guys, right here, right on the label here, Active TM Premium Prosumer electric pressure washer. So they're telling you right off the bat, this is not an industrial grade commercial unit. This is a prosumer unit. The guys that are working in your garage, using it as a professional detailer, yeah, you're gonna be able to get away with that no problem. I would think at least, now all these units are gonna be somewhat rebuildable. The commercial grade Washer Pro, fully rebuildable. The Active, they've been releasing videos on that thing, and they've been talking about how this will be a rebuildable unit in certain senses. You can at least replace the components that could possibly go bad, and they will stock that stuff, which is awesome. Also, you can change the oil on it. They're releasing a video on that as well. It's not the same as like, you know, a dipstick and a little fill valve like the Washer Pro will have. I don't know about this one yet, but still, you would remove the pump, remove one little piece, and then be able to insert your oil there. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into pricing right off the bat. Again, you have to take into account that these are different units, right? The Active 2.3 comes as a full kit. You get the pressure washer hose, you get the gun, all that kind of stuff. These two, you do not, but you do get the unit itself and then also a pretty good foam cannon. Now, as far as pricing goes, the Active 2.3 comes in at $649.99. Now, they do have some coupon codes. I have some linked that I'll link down in the description. Again, it's another 23 units. It's something they did when they were doing pre-orders as well. They're releasing 23 coupon codes, at least through me. So you can still get this ordered and use that coupon code. I'll have it linked in the description for you guys. Now, when we go over to the Washer Pro, this is the most expensive unit of the bunch, but again, this is the full-blown commercial grade pressure washer. Now, this one is coming in at $699.99 normally, is currently on sale on BigBoi's site for $629.99. So actually a fantastic value. I know it doesn't come with the pressure washer hose and gun, but I think if you're going into this level of pressure washer, you're gonna have that stuff already. At least, you know, you're upgrading your unit. You already have some of the components that you want. So, and then finally over here at the Washer Duo, I think they're kind of comparing these two. This one's not, they're not calling it commercial grade. This one's, it's above prosumer, but it's not full-blown commercial. So it's kind of, I guess it would go full commercial, this one, and then prosumer, I think, or these ones are at least really close to each other. This one comes in at a price of $549. So $100 less than the Active. Again, you're not getting the hose and gun. It is currently on sale. It is sold out, but you can still pre-order for $467.49. So fantastic deal. The only other thing to note here, guys, is the Active 2.3 includes shipping, whereas these two do not. They've been addressing this issue. I actually talked to the owner of BigBoI, and they're actually setting up different fulfillment centers within the US. So pricing on the shipping is getting better and better. When they first launched, it was quite expensive, and I think they dropped it down. They set a flat rate shipping price, and I think that'll adjust over time as well as they get all that infrastructure set in place. Now again, talking about repairability, yes, this is repairable. Yes, this is repairable. This one, completely rebuildable. Like this one, you can kind of go through the whole thing. Now, I did talk to them. They're basically gonna make spare components available within the US. They'll be warehoused here, no problem. So you can take it to a service center of your choice that works on pressure washers. They'll be able to order components and get them done, no problem. Now we went over pricing, but I wanna get into value, and I'm not gonna get into that until we test them and really kind of see exactly where these things fit. So let's go ahead and unbox these really quickly, and then we'll go outside. All right, guys, so here are the 3 units. All of them look absolutely amazing. The design of all these things is really, really good. Obviously, the Active has a very, very unique design structure to it, which I really, really like. It also has the mountable cage with mounting holes in the back, so you can just plop it up on the wall, versus the ones from BigBoI, you would have to put on a shelf. But again, the feet on it are almost like little suction cups, so I don't think you have any issues with that stuff at all. I'm gonna take you guys in closer with my phone now and show you some of the details, because there are a few key points that you wanna know. All right, guys, so first up is the Washer Pro. You have a little, your on-off valve, or your on-off switch is right on the front here. You have your big triplex pump here, looks fantastic. You have a water inlet valve, your water outlet valve, coming off the same direction. Now, you guys have probably heard me say that's not my favorite, but again, if you're talking about wall mounting this thing or having on a pressure hose reel or anything like that, which is what you're gonna do, then this is totally fine. They actually include a quick connect here for your garden hose. I don't know, I haven't looked, it might have the other side to it too, but for now it's just this side that I'm seeing. But even then you can just remove that if you want to and just use a standard garden hose connection. Going around the side, you do have your oil indicator there. And right here, guys, is your oil cap. Now, when you get this thing, it ships with a red one on there, and you do have to take that red one out. That's just for shipping, and you replace it with this, which is a breather valve. So very, very important there. You have nozzle storage on the back. These nozzles are a 3.5, if it'll focus for you. Anyways, 3.5 orifice. That's what this thing's tuned for to get the numbers that they state. So we can play around with that, which we may do, but maybe in another video where we actually, you know, go into this one specific unit in depth. Now, going over to the Active. Also, guys, you can see the structure is very, very nice. Again, you can just anchor this into the wall and hook it on there and you'll be good to go. This is your 5-piston pump. This is an upgrade, I believe, from the Active. Yes, so here's the Active 2.0, right? That's one of them there. And they changed it over to a more robust brass fitting there, or brass components. You have your water inlet here, water outlet here. And then this is, you would back these off eventually to be able to refill the oil. There is no oil gauge on this thing that I've seen, so you can't monitor your oil like you can on this. And again, there's no oil fill like on this one. This one you do have to disassemble it, but still, prosumer grade there is what they're rating this at. And again, the functionality and the look of this thing is phenomenal. Basic toggle switch right on the front. Moving on to the BIGBOI Duo. Again, guys, very, very similar here. We have water inlet on one side, water outlet on the other. Again, this is the wobble plate pump, the axial pump. And the rest of the unit is very, very similar. Now, the nozzles that this comes with are different. Oh, here's that red cap I was talking about. So I'll actually replace that here in a minute. But the nozzles on this one, again, this one's tuned differently. So these are a 4.0. Now, I've heard a couple of things from them and some other reviews. And they actually reached out and let me know that I guess there was a mistake at the factory, but I'm not 100% sure now, because they said that this was cranked down too far, which spiked the amp rating up to above 15. Now, if you don't crank that all the way down, then you'll be fine. You'll be under 15 amps. However, again, not everyone has an amp reader, so I think they're replacing these with 4.2s, and they'll be sending them out preemptively to everyone that's ordered this thing, so you don't have to worry about that. It'll still work with the 4.0s absolutely perfectly. You might just want to make sure you're scaling this back a little bit just to make sure, if you're on a 15 amp breaker, then you'll have that concern. If you're not, then no issue, right? Maybe running the motor a little bit higher RPM than it normally would, but still, the 4.0 tips should be good to go. So let's go ahead and replace this valve real quick, and then we'll touch on the accessories that this comes with. All right, guys, here's the breather cap right here. So we're just gonna take this guy here and just get this on here and back this off, loosen it up. There we go. back that out. Let me go ahead. And then you have your basic oil fill here. Now, one important thing on this one is I don't see a actual window for this one on where the oil is at. So it looks like this one does have a dipstick. So let's just go ahead and tighten this down, and then we'll look at the dipstick just to make sure we got enough oil in there from shipping and to make sure that we're good to go. So that's good. Pull out the dipstick. Yeah, we're good to go. So cool. There's another little differentiating factor between the Duo and the Pro. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on to the features or accessories that these units come with. Again, nice long power hose or power cable, GFCI. They're all gonna have a GFCI. Working around water, you wanna make sure you're safe with that. So the Big Boy does not come with a hose and gun. What it does come with is a foam cannon. And again, guys, this is a proper foam cannon. It's not a crazy expensive one or anything, but it's a proper foam cannon. You're gonna get the job done well. I don't know what size orifice it has inside of it. I can't remember off the top of my head. We'll get into that later. But basically, just nice, soft silicone straw, right? No weight on the bottom, but you do have a nice little mesh filter, so you don't have to worry about contaminants getting through there. You can change the pattern, right? You just open it up and close it to make it from a straight line into like a 40 degree or so around there. Does it change between horizontal and vertical? No, it does not. But again, it's gonna get the job done just fine. You can also tighten down the top to get the most amount of foam. So really cool. The bottle, these clear plastic bottles, it's like on the MJJC SV3 when they're, or even if you have chemicals, right? You buy chemicals from a company and they come in that clear bottle. Those have more potential to break than a natural looking bottle. So just keep that in mind. Don't drop your foam cannon, right? Try not to. If you do, this can break for sure, especially over time. But the threads on this thing are plastic. The threads on the top are plastic and they're very, very large and it screws in very, very nicely. It also has nice little grips on the side and then your measurement guide as well. Same foam cannon on the Pro as well as the Duo. Now when we move over to the Active 2.3, again, this one comes with a hose and it's actually quite a good hose. It is a steel braided hose at 40 feet. Fantastic, M22 by 14 connection points, so you can put quick connects or whatever else on it as you need. But a fantastic hose. You're not gonna have to upgrade this thing, it's great. Now Active actually advertises that they recommend using a steel braided hose. They've had some issues, I guess, with the Uberflex hose in the past with the 2.0 and having the unit surge. And they're saying that because it doesn't have a steel braid structure, that the hose expands. And it makes sense. And I saw a video where they were comparing that and it did show a difference. Like you go from the original hose to the Uberflex and there was definitely a difference. For me personally, guys, especially in this class of pressure washer, I've been running an Uberflex hose on an AR630 for years with no issue. No issue at all. So on these level of pressure washer, I don't think it would be a concern, but Active definitely does state on their site, they recommend a steel braided hose. This one's a 40 footer. Now the 2 units from Big Boy don't come with a hose, don't come with a gun. They do sell their own kits and one of them is a steel braided hose like this. Now moving on from the hose to the other accessories. Now pressure washer gun that it comes with, this is a standard, right? This is actually regulation that they have to ship you with a long nozzled pressure washer gun. Is it a great gun? It's fine, it'll get the job done. It's definitely something that I would upgrade right away. I wouldn't use this just personally, like if I'm especially working on my cars, which is what you're doing with this thing. You want something that, you know, typically the short handled one, things like that. I have a bunch of my favorites. I'll link down in the description. Also put up a video here where I tested out a bunch of different ones from like super cheap up to the super, super expensive OG spec one from Obsessed Garage, which is a great gun, but it is very, very expensive. So, with this one though, the hose connection is right in front of the trigger here, which again, I've talked about this before, I don't like because as you're working, the hose is laying down in front of you, giving you more opportunity to rub that hose against the surface of your car, possibly marring your paint, all that kind of stuff. So I prefer when it comes off the back. Just my personal preference. It does have the 1/4 inch quick connect on the front. And then when you go from there, this is the foam cannon that they give you. So, it's interesting. I've never seen anything like this. They have a foam cannon that is much more more like this actually. So I don't know why they included this. It must have been a relatively cheap item and like just, hey, to get started, here's something. Man, I can't even find how to close this thing. Oh, I guess you line up there we go. Okay, so there's that. It flips down, flips up. I have no idea what the functionality is behind that. Probably really just easier for shipping, I would think. Now it does have the ability to change between vertical and horizontal. So you can turn that, which is cool. They have a little toggle up here. I don't know what that's for. Maybe it locks it in place. No, it doesn't. So I'm not 100% sure what that's for, if it's actually tightening down and giving more foam or not. It's just like a quarter turn. So, and then from there, the functionality of being able to adjust the spray pattern isn't the best. It's just open, so that's gonna be a pretty hard stream. Pull it forward, and then it snaps down into an ideal position, I guess, for the fan. So I don't hate that, I guess. I don't hate it because even though the having the ability to really dial this in on how you want the fan is nice, I typically set mine to where I want it and that's it. So as long as this is where that is, I don't mind it. All right, guys, now last but not least, we're gonna go ahead and test the weight of this thing. So I just have a basic bathroom scale here. I'm putting a piece of cardboard across it just to evenly disperse the weight. Now I know it's cardboard, it's gonna compress, but it should at least keep everything on there because the unit is bigger. So first one up is the Washer Pro. Oh, look at that, it's not even compressing, impressive. And we are coming in at 58.4 pounds for the Washer Pro. All right, next up is the Active 2.3. Now this one actually kind of fits on here pretty well, so let's do that, let it register. 47.6 pounds. And again, guys, that's with the cage on it. This is removable, so if you want to, you can do that, but we're just doing it this way. And last but not least, the Washer Pro, Duo. There we go. And we are coming in at 52.5 pounds. So the difference between the Pro and the Duo, they're both heavy units, both heavier than the Active 2.3. So those are the weights, guys. Take that for what you will. I'm not saying that's good, bad, whatever. I'm sort of indifferent to it. So now let's go ahead and talk about the rated performance that these things get, and then we'll go outside and test to see if we get those numbers. So where are my notes? Now, here they are. The Active 2.3. Step right up here. This unit is rated at 1100 PSI, 2.3 GPM at the nozzle. So we'll test that, see what that gets. We'll also test the amperage to see where that's at. Moving on to the Duo. The Duo is rated at 1000 PSI, 2 gallons per minute. So a little bit less on both of those. However, still it's supposed to be under 15 amps. Both of these, actually all three of these are gonna be under 15 amps. And then last but not least, the Pro, oh my goodness, states 1200 PSI at 1.92 GPM. Again, this is coming with a 3.5 nozzle. So if we open that up, we drop our PSI, increase our GPM, see where that lays. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the testing. All right, guys, so the first unit up is going to be the Washer Pro. We do have it running into my pressure washer gauge, the PSI gauge, and then we'll run that into the gun and run our nozzles. Okay guys, now because all the nozzles on this machine are that 3.5 orifice, I only have to test one nozzle. So in order to do that, I'm gonna use the 40 so that it creates an even fan. I just have less potential of losing water. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do a decibel reading. I'm not saying this is an accurate decibel reading, right? They have to be calibrated, all those types of things. This is just a decibel reader on my phone. But it'll give us a good representation if we do unit after unit after unit to be able to compare and see which one's the loudest. So let's go ahead and do that. And while I do that, I'm also going to be testing the amperage rating of this unit as it sits. All right, guys, so we have the Washer Pro set up out here. Everything's hooked up, everything's on and ready to go. Now, I've seen some other reviews talking about, and Big Boy actually reached out to me and said that within here, there's a little screw, a little Allen head screw that restricts you from tightening this down as far as you need to get the rated performance that they have. I was just playing with it, and I'll show you a little video of exactly where it is. But for me personally, when I did that, it actually increased my PSI above what they stated. And I didn't want to do that too much because then it's going to increase the amperage as well. So I put it back to exactly where it was, and I'm getting exactly 1200 PSI as they state. So let me go ahead and show you guys that. So here we go. Yeah, so we're spot on 1200 PSI. And this thing feels really powerful. Really, really powerful. Now I'm used to using an AR630 TSS in my truck. This feels, I don't know, similar, at least. I don't know. Let's go ahead and test the GPM. But actually, before we do that, let's test the decibel level. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hose, I'm going to walk it out. This is actually a hose from a DeWalt. I was going to use the one that came with the Active 2.3, but because it doesn't have a quick connect, I wasn't able to use it with this. So this hose had it already, so that's what I'm running with. I'm going to go ahead and walk this out as far as I can. I'm going to zip tie the trigger so we can actually hear this thing running because it does have the total stop. Obviously, if we're not pulling the trigger, we're not going to get any noise. So I'm going to walk it out as far as I can, pull the trigger, come back, stand a couple feet away, and take that rating. All right, and here we go, guys. Okay, guys, so now in order to test the decibel reading, I'm going to use it on my phone. This isn't the most accurate way to do this. This is literally just an app on my phone. It's not calibrated properly. I know you have to calibrate things, but here we go. So I'm going to go back to the wall. And we have averaged out at 72 decibels, which is incredibly, incredibly quiet. This thing, I mean, you can hear it right here. I'm just talking over it. Very, very quiet. Let me go ahead and stop this now. And here you go, guys. We're getting 13.53 amps consistently. It's kind of bouncing around there a little bit, but basically it spiked up to 13.7, and now it's settling down to that 13.5 mark. All right, guys, now next up, let's go ahead and test the GPM. Now again, I'm gonna set a timer. We're gonna put it in the bucket, and we're gonna let it go. So here we go, guys. I'm gonna try and not lose any water out of the top, but you know, it depends on the water flow of this thing. Again, I think it was rated at 1.92 is what they have it listed at with 1200 PSI, so we'll see where we're at. All right, guys, we're about 45 seconds in, and you can see it's starting to try and bubble out. Whoop, we're losing out some water. Here we go. Uh-oh, we might have to redo this. Oh man, here we go. Whoop, okay. Might have ruined my scale as well. Well, we lost so much water, so that's not fair. Yeah, let me redo that into the big bucket. Now I'm actually gonna weigh this out in ounces just to make my calculation a little bit easier for myself. So this thing weighs let's see here. Yeah, 40.9 ounces. All right, guys, there is 1 minute. Let me go ahead and show you the flow on the side of this thing. Now, it's sort of bouncing around. Right there, we're basically at 7 liters, essentially, at 1200 PSI. We're gonna go ahead and let this bounce around. Again, I don't know how accurate this one is, so let's go ahead and move on to weighing it out. All right, guys, so we have the scale back. We're gonna go in ounces again. Okay, putting it on the scale. 278 ounces even. All right, guys, so after doing those calculations, we subtracted the weight, and it came to 237.1 ounces. If you calculated that into weight, it's approximately 133.5 or so ounces per gallon of water. So that comes to a rating of 1.77 GPM is what I'm getting currently. Now, with these pumps, typically they break in over time. So that will increase over time. This is just right out of the box, first time using this thing. Now, outside of that though, I do want to switch over to a 4.0 nozzle with this thing. I wasn't going to, but I want to see what those numbers are because we have this tuned. We're getting the exact 1200 PSI, proper amperage ratings and all that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and use this and see. All right, so here's the 4.0. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger. Slight variance, but not much. We're at 1100 PSI now instead of the 1200, so only dropping 100 PSI. So there you are. Really quickly, just to see, I have a 4.5 here. Let's check that. That's the 5.0. Here's the 4.5. We are at exactly 1000 PSI for me. So let me go ahead and show you that. That's all good. I'm gonna go check the amperage rating real quick. Amperage rating of 12.29, so no worries there. I actually like that 1000 PSI depending on how much GPM we're getting. I'm gonna run that. I'm gonna run that and see what the rating is for the GPM. All right, guys, so we definitely, holy moly, we definitely increased our water flow. All right, guys, now to be fair, I may have held that about a second too long, to be perfectly honest. However, the scale read 330 ounces. Now I made notes. You subtract that of the 40.9 of what the bucket was. It comes to 289.9. We divide that by the 133.5. 2.17 gallons per minute. Again, that's probably a little bit high because I did run it a little bit long, but still 2.1, I mean, it's over 2. Let me go ahead and show you the bucket here. And look at that. So this would be 2 1/4. So that'd be 2.2. So it's not, this bucket's not 100% accurate on these markings. However, again, I got 2.17 gallons per minute out of the Washer Pro at 1,000 PSI. Unreal. And again, guys, that is with the 4.5 orifice nozzle. That's going to be my go-to. Those numbers, 1,000 PSI over 2 gallons per minute, phenomenal. Again, running at a low amperage. The pressure washer sounds phenomenal. Awesome. Very, very cool. Now let's go ahead and disconnect this one. I'm going to go ahead and grab the next one and we'll start testing that. All right, guys, next up is the Active 2.3. Again, a very, very good looking unit. Really cool design. The water is on. Gonna pull the trigger, let the air purge out of it. As always, you always want to make sure to do that, right? Whoa, I don't know if you guys can see that. It was really dirty looking as the water first started coming out. This is the factory hose for the Active. So I don't know if there was something in the hose or in the unit, but it wasn't doing that. You know, my water's clean. So I am not running deionized water right now, guys. This is straight from the tap at my house. I run, I can't remember, I think 350 or so parts per million total dissolved solids. So anyways, let's go ahead and start off doing the test, right? We're gonna check the PSI real quick with the included nozzle. Now, on this little tag on the unit, they state they're 4.4 nozzles, but if you actually look at the nozzles, they are 4.6. So I'm assuming that's something that they made an adjustment to, just didn't get corrected on that. Let's go ahead and turn the unit on. Substantially louder, like a higher pitch than the other one. Still much quieter than your, you know, your basic units for sure. But let's go ahead and check the PSI. Wow. So again, they rate this at 1100. It is dialed in straight on to 1100. So very, very accurate. Let me go ahead and show you. Boom, 1100 PSI. Okay, we're gonna do the same, oh my gosh, same decibel test. Okay guys, so once again, I'm back at the wall. Gonna turn on the decibel meter. Wow, 91. 91 average. It's got, now again, I'm up against a wall, so that may be affecting it, but definitely louder than the other unit. All right guys, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to testing the GPM of this unit. Again, we'll weigh it out after, if I can find my lid. Here we go. We're gonna run this thing just like the other one for 1 minute and see where it lands. All righty guys, and here we go. All right, so there's 1 minute. Got to tell you, my ear is ringing from the machine being right there. It's definitely louder, but man, yeah, we're looking like about the same numbers for GPM that I'm getting currently as I did with the Pro and with the 4.5 nozzle. Again, this is the 4.6 nozzle that comes with this. Let's go ahead and weigh this out. Whew, slightly more, guys. We are at 335.4 ounces. So let's do that calculation. Minus 40.9 is 294.5 divided by 133.5. 2.2 gallons per minute. So again, even with this one, it's gonna break in and get a little bit more than that over time. So that 2.3 is probably accurate at 1100 PSI once it breaks in. But even right now, 2.2059. So it's an accurate 2.2 that I'm getting personally. Very, very good. Really quickly, let's just run, oh, I didn't tell you the amperage rating, so let me go ahead and do that really quickly. You pull the trigger. Yeah, no worries there, guys. It maxed out at 12.95, so no worries there. Just really quickly, just to see, 4.6 nozzle. Let me go ahead and throw a 5.0 in here and just see what that does to our PSI to start. If it trashes our PSI, then we don't need to measure the GPM, but just to see. 980 or so, just about 1,000, so I'm not mad at that either. So let me check the GPM with this one as well. All right, guys, Active 2.3 upgraded to a 5.0 nozzle. Again, we're getting about 980 PSI. Let's go ahead and test the GPM with this one. And here we go. There's 1 minute. Okay. Just go ahead and look at this again. This isn't 100% accurate. We did get an increase though, not a ton, but we did get an increase. So as you can see there, with the other one, we're just about right at 2.5 or 2.25. Now we're up above that. So let me go ahead and measure that. So yeah, slight increase. We're at 2.23 gallons per minute. Not quite that 2.3, but again, I think we'll get there once it breaks in more. All right, guys, now last but not least, we've got the BigBoI Washer Duo. Water is on, everything's hooked up. We're gonna go ahead and pull the trigger, let the air purge out. Go ahead and fire it on. Louder than the Pro. Still sounds quite good though. Not as high pitched to me as the Active, but kind of in that range. We'll find out here shortly. Let's go ahead and throw in the nozzle. What is this one? That's a 5.0. Let's skip that. Let's go ahead and go with the nozzle that is on the machine. Now, I heard some discrepancy about this as well. So I heard they're shipping with a 4.0 nozzle. I heard that optimum is 4.2, and with the 4.0, you can actually spike above your amperage reading at the 15 amps, just barely. However, in the other review, they mentioned that this thing was cranked all the way down, so don't over tighten it, and let's see. Right now, it's snug, it's tight. Let's just go ahead and see with this nozzle. So PSI is at, I'm getting 1250. I don't remember what this is rated at, but I'm getting 1250 right off the bat. And with that, we are running at, oh, yeah, we're way over. Yeah, we're way over. Way over, actually. Let me dial this back. Still over. All right, guys, so I've been playing with this thing a little bit, and in order to get to exactly 1,000 PSI, I'm at like 14.99, 15 amps, so it's right there. And again, it wasn't set to that. I had to adjust it to get it there. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and test. Here, I'll show you guys the PSI. So there you go, 1,000 PSI. Let's go ahead and test the decibel rating with this one. All right, guys, going to the decibel reading again, just leaning against the wall as I was last time. .86 decibels. So still quieter than the Active. However, this one is spiking above 15 if you're not dialed in perfectly. So a little bit of a variance there, depending on what you want to do. Let me go ahead and grab that again. We'll test the GPM at its current state as it sits. All righty, guys, so let's go ahead and do our GPM test now. Again, like I said, at that 1,000 PSI mark, right at about 15 amps, just under. So guys, if you're in an older house that has a 15 amp breaker that you're worried about, that you have issues with it popping all the time, this one's gonna be pushing that, at least in its current state with the nozzles that it comes with. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the, make sure this is on. There we go. On to the GPM test. Oh, oops. And here we go. All right, so there is 1 minute. Now again, this one advertises 1,000 PSI, 2 GPM. Or so, yeah, 2 gallons per minute. We're coming in under that. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and weigh this out. 282.3. All right, guys, so I'm getting 1,000 PSI, 1.80 GPM. So slightly under the numbers that they were rating on this one. Again, I don't know if it has to do with power surge, like different gauges of wire and whatever in your house, if that makes a difference. But again, I'm right at that 15 amps, just right there, getting 1,000 PSI, 1.8 GPM. Now let's go ahead and have some fun. And I'm going to tighten this knob down, right? Okay, we're good there. Again, I didn't crank it, just tighten it down. All right, and let's play with some different nozzle sizes to see where the amperage sits and what kind of PSI we can get. So first up, we're gonna go to the 4.5. All right, I'm at 1,100 PSI, sitting at 15.48 amps. So slightly bit, you know what? That 4.6 from the Active might be the perfect thing. Let's just go ahead and try a 5.0 first and see where the GPM falls, or sorry, the PSI falls with that. Yeah, now we're at 900. Let me go grab that 4.6 just to see. All right, here's the 4.6 from the Active unit. Barely over, well, yeah, I'll call it 1,050. It's like right in between there, so we'll call it 1,050. Man, we're still at 15.2 amps. So let me dial it back just slightly. There we go, we're exactly at 1,000 PSI now. And we're running under the amperage rating, so we're at 14.6. So let me pull that again, show you. Here you go, right at 1,000 PSI, if it'll focus for you. And the rating is 14.6 amps, so that's perfect. Let's go ahead and check the PSI, or the, man, gallons per minute rating with that now. Or from 1 minute, and here we go. There we go, 1 minute. Again, with the 4.6 nozzle that came on the active. Yeah, this is great. So if I hadn't touched this nozzle or the knob right when I got the machine, I just turned it a little bit, didn't crank it down, but just a little bit. If I hadn't done that, then it would have been running at these numbers. With a 4.6 nozzle or even 4.5, we'd be perfect. We'd be under 15 amps, getting that 1,000 PSI, and the GPM definitely went up. Let me go ahead and grab my phone and show you guys that. So you can see, again, we talked about this. The markings on this aren't 100% correct, but we're over 2 gallons on the markings at least. So let's go ahead and weigh it out now. There we go, 319.6. 319.6 is what we are at. Yeah, so now we're at 2.087, so almost 2.1. But we are above 2 gallons per minute at 1,000 PSI. Fantastic units, guys. Unbelievable units. We're living in a great time to have all these options for our detailing needs. Active and Big Boy both kind of design stuff with the car wash, car detailer in mind, which I really appreciate. I'm very happy for that. Yeah, let's go inside and talk about this. All right, guys, so there you have it. 3 phenomenal new pressure washers. Couldn't be more excited about this. Loudest unit, Active 2.3, at least out of this test between these 3, right? 2.3 was the loudest. The quietest was the Washer Pro. When we talk about GPM, the Active 2.3 won there. We were getting 2.2 at a 2.2 at 1,100 PSI, something like that. I can't remember. Best overall performance would have to, for me personally, go to the Washer Pro for sure. In my personal opinion, it's super quiet. It got fantastic numbers. It ran super well. Now, I didn't have to make the adjustment to the knob. It was perfect for me. Now, with that said, guys, with all of these being somewhat in that same price point. Now, the Active, again, $650. That includes shipping. That's shipped and includes all the accessories, right? You get the hose. The gun I would replace anyways. The foam cannon that it comes with, I would replace anyways. And I will be testing those down the road when I do the individual tests. I didn't test any foam cannons with any of these, but we will in the specific videos. So this one's a fantastic value. Now it is listed as a prosumer unit. Again, it was the loudest. It ran at a good amperage though. It wasn't overloading the machine. It just was louder than the other 2. This one, again, I did have to manipulate to get the numbers that I wanted, but got fantastic numbers, ran quieter than this. This is technically the cheapest on paper. Again, I think if you're buying into these, you probably already have your own hose and gun. You do have to calculate shipping on this one. But for me, guys, overall, as a professional detailer or just for my home use, right, because I want it to be quiet, #1 pick, guys, the winner for me. I have a trophy here. This is my 2016 bass fishing trophy, just between my brother and I for the biggest fish of the year. Goes to the winner, the BigBoI Washer Pro. For me, if I'm looking at buying one of these 3 units, that's where I'm going. In second place, I have to give it to the Active 2.3, just because straight out of the box, exactly what the tips that they give you, all that kind of stuff, it got the exact numbers, or almost the exact numbers they listed. 1,100 PSI, 2.2 GPM, they list 2.3, but I think it will get there over time once the pump starts to break in a little bit more. And then in third place, for me, just because I did have to manipulate it, and I think that might, if you're on a 20 amp breaker, this is a phenomenal unit. I love it. It got 1,000 PSI, over 2 GPM. Great unit. I absolutely love it. And again, I think the build quality on this one's fully serviceable right at the main points. You can drain your oil, you can refill your oil. This one you do have to take apart a little bit more. This one's slightly more, I want to say rebuildable, I guess. This one, for sure, like I said, that they're going to have all the components so you can replace this and keep this thing running. For sure, no issues there, and you can replace the oil. You just have to take it apart a little bit more than with these 2. But overall, guys, first place, second place, third place, in my personal opinion. Take that for what it is, but I hope that video helps you guys. Again, it's a great time to be alive as a detailer with all these great options. I hope that video helps you. Please make sure to like the video. Make sure you're subscribed, turn on that notification bell, and we will see you guys on the next one.